Tech this past season, he said he would draft Kyler at #1 overall if he could. Well, flash forward to now, and the new Cardinals head coach has the #1 pick. One problem, though. The Cardinals also have Josh Rosen. Kingsbury had his new QBs back yesterday. Take a listen.
Our feelings towards Josh haven't waned or changed or anything. I get we have the first pick, and so there's going to be a million scenarios over the next 3 months they're going to come up. But no, Josh is our guy, and Kyler's a tremendous player, and I said that was being very complimentary before we played an opponent, and I understand the soundbite.
All right, we are joined now in studio by Jason McIntyre. What do you think about those comments? You buying it? Cliff's not going to try and draft Kyler?
How about that, Jamie? The dreaded vote of confidence from the coach. I mean, what's he going to say when they interview Kyler Murray at the Combine? And then the Cardinals, Kyler Murray will do the private workout afterward. I feel like this lines up perfectly. Kyler Murray to Arizona, #1 in the draft. I mean, listen, if you look at the history, last 20 years, 14 of 20 #1 overall picks were quarterbacks. Even in the last 3 years, guys, quarterbacks taken in the top 10 teams have traded up for them. Greg Jennings, 4 of those 5 teams have made the playoffs, and 2 of them really stick out. Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, what he's done with the Big 12 air raid offense, it's proven that Kyler Murray can do the same in the NFL. I see no issues with this whatsoever. I feel a little bit bad for Josh Rosen. Didn't get a fair shot in Arizona. But he could end up in New England. I know that's another topic. I just feel like Kyler Murray right now, he's going to crush this interview process. This is a guy who's probably going to be the first player ever drafted in the first round of baseball and football. Bo Jackson was not. Deion Sanders was not. I like Kyler Murray going #1 overall.
What are you talking about, Jason? No. Kyler Murray will not go to the Arizona Cardinals. If the Arizona Cardinals still have that pick, they're not picking Kyler Murray with that pick. They have Josh Rosen. They picked him 10th overall last season. He has nothing to work with. He has absolutely nothing to work with. And you just ship him out after 1 season of nothing to work with? Yeah. And a veteran leader, and I love Larry Fitzgerald, but he's nowhere near the same player. And he led that team in receiving. Kyler Murray, this is what I don't like when we have sound bites like this in situations like this. Texas Tech and Cliff Kingsbury, he was playing against, about to get ready to compete against a young man, Kyler Murray, that he understood in that point and where he was, this player is electric. He's unbelievable. If I were a head coach and I had the #1 overall pick in the draft, which he had no idea he would be in this situation.
He barely could hold on to his college job.
He said, you know what, I would take him. Now he's in this situation. That is then. He is not taking him. I love everything about Kyler Murray. I think he's going to be fantastic. I don't even consider his height at times. But when I look at this situation, there is no way. The biggest needs for the Arizona Cardinals is not a Kyler Murray. They have to get a receiver. They need everything.
They need everything. Which is why you trade Josh Rosen.
No.
You get a haul of picks, players.
No, you're not trading what you believe to be your franchise quarterback moving forward when you've invested so much. No, you can still move things around and acquire other players and add other pieces without having to get Kyler Murray at #1 overall. You got a lot of options. You got Nick Bosa, who would definitely help your team. Taking him #1 overall. Jason McIntyre, sometimes you make some outlandish.
Sometimes.
But this one by far might take the cake.
Really? All right. Well, I'm sure Bruce Hart will back me up.
I'm going to say something I never thought I'd say.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
I agree with Jason McIntyre.
Tap it up.
Now, I don't know if they will take him, but I think they should take him. And all this, they just drafted Josh Rosen. Well, you just hired your head coach. You got rid of him after 1 year. All right, Cliff Kings. Josh Rosen didn't show me what Sam Darnold showed me. He certainly didn't show me what Baker Mayfield showed me. And Josh Allen didn't throw the ball much better, but at least he could run, you know. And Lamar Jackson could run. And I'm not saying Josh Rosen is a bust or whatever, but he didn't show me the signs
Wow.
that I at least saw in those other guys.
Wow,
Now,
I'm with you.
the front office may not do it because Kingsbury is just the coach. But if he has the say, he's the one going to be calling the plays. They hired Tom Clements to be a passing coordinator. But who's going to be calling the plays? Kingsbury. His type of offense, his style of play is tailor-made for Kyler Murray, not Josh Rosen. So if you really believe that Murray is the guy, then you can't let the fact that they drafted a quarterback the year before stop you. Because if Murray is that guy, get him. And you can get a nice little haul for Josh Rosen to fill in where you need. I'm just saying they should. I don't know if he will.
This is one of these connections that they will regret later on when the NFL draft comes down.
Yes.
Because you guys are living in this prisoner of the moment, Instagram, Kyler Murray, blah, blah, blah. The general manager that you were talking about just hired, Cliff, is not going to admit that he made a mistake.
Thank you.
He just did it.
No.
He fired the coach after 1 year.
I'm talking about his draft. He will not admit that he made a mistake and Josh Rosen didn't have a fair chance to even play.
Who selected that coach?
Hiring a coach
Who hired
in
the coach?
Totally different.
Was it the same
are
GM?
completely different.
Was it the
Yeah,
same
they got the
GM?
same GM in place.
Different.
That's admission of a mistake.
He will. You could. I'm gonna tell you. He didn't have a chance because he had no weapons.
Did the coach have a
He
chance?
had nothing.
In
No.
the line.
But
Did
it's
the coach
easy.
have a chance?
It's just like we talked about with Luke Walton. It's easy to get rid of a coach. I'm telling you, you guys are way over this. Josh Rosen is who they picked. They didn't make that pick a year ago to make him their franchise quarterback on a whim and decide that they're not going to do it. This isn't not. Josh Rosen will be the quarterback, and all those other needs will be addressed. It's not going to happen.
Rob, don't you think that's an ego issue?
No, it's
I'm
not.
not. I'm
No,
not
no,
going to
it's
take
not.
Kyler Murray because I don't want to admit I screwed up last year.
They believe
No, listen, Chris has made a great point, okay? Josh Allen had no talent in Buffalo. Sam Darnold had no talent in New York. They put up way better stats, look way better than Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen was benched late in the season because he was bad. Ineffectiveness. I like Rosen. I think he can bounce back. But you should not skip somebody and say, oh, I don't want Kyler Murray, even though he fits to what Kingsbury does. Just because I picked a quarterback last year, that is a reason to get fired right there.
No, I'm just saying that's not the way.
You got to make the best.
You got to make sure.
decision.
No, and I'm waiting.
Look, I think you're probably right in terms of that they won't do it. But I'm saying if they are
Josh Rosen
convinced,
last year, you would have passed on Josh Rosen last
But
year.
you didn't know Kyler Murray was anything.
No, it has nothing to do with that. If you didn't believe that he wasn't good enough.
Make the best football decision. They wouldn't have hired the coach if they thought he wasn't good enough.
Situation
Totally
change,
different.
Rob.
You can get a coach in a situation and say, we think he's over his head, and he was a good assistant, but he's not a good head coach.
You can do the same thing with a quarterback.
If you were
thought he was better.
If you were honest about what Josh Rosen had to work with and what he didn't have a chance to succeed last year in Arizona.
So the coach.
So there's no reason for me to say that he can't do it if we get some other players around.
So, Rob, the
I don't
GM
believe
is
in
going to
that.
come to Kingsbury and say, hey, who do you want? What do you want to do with this offense? He says, I want Kyler Murray. You're telling me you're not taking him? Your brand new head coach says, I think he's a better fit for what we can do, the damage we can do in this division and in the NFL. Give me Kyler Murray. And he doesn't
with
give him?
no players is going to wind up being Josh Rosen. It's going to be the same situation.
Well, no, because then you trade Rosen.
This GM just hired a coach who was probably about to get fired in college, who struggled in college.
He was
I don't think he's worried about, he struggled in college, and he hired him. So I don't know that he's worried so much about what I did. I mean, he hired a coach that was just fired in college. He fired a head coach he just hired after 1 year.
This is a franchise.
You got to
in
make
trouble.
the best
You got to do a
football
nice move,
That's
and
all
I
I'm
think
saying.
Murray's a guy.
Can't worry
Why
about
are you
it.
so against Kyler Murray? Is it the height?
He
Be honest.
loves
Whoa,
Kyler
I
Murray.
love Kyler
So
Murray.
why don't you want to take him?
Because I don't need him with this pick. What are you talking about?
Rosen? Are you sold on?
I'm not sold on Rosen as much as I am on. I wasn't sold on Rosen when it came last year with these guys. With
the roster.
with the other quarterbacks that came out last year. But when I look at this year's draft and I look at the Arizona Cardinals and what they need, they're not in need of a quarterback. They're in need of other positions that they can
What's
fill
the most important
easily.
position to have?
Should they trade Josh?
why
Do
can't
they have their franchise quarterback?
You have your franchise quarterback.
I thought you said you don't believe in Rosen.
No, I said over Kyler Murray. No, that's me personally. But if I'm the Arizona Cardinals, I believe in Josh Rosen. I picked him.
Why do you believe in him? You didn't see one thing last year that was like, man, this is our guy. Maybe a couple throws, but that's it.
What did we see outside of Baker Mayfield? What did we see out of Josh Allen?
Josh Allen had a pretty darn
run the
good
ball.
season.
He a little dual
Sam
threat.
Darnold made a lot of plays.
Darnold
Had a
made
good
some
couple
nice
good
plays.
wins.
Rob loves Darnold.
Oh my, like you guys are so caught up into just a flash moment. And a flash is, oh my gosh, this guy is going to be excellent. He's going to be the greatest player ever. Like this is what the issue is. When you have the #1 overall pick, you can't get caught up into, you know what? This guy is electric. He's everything that everybody else is, unless they take him and they trade him off somewhere. No, you're not going to do it. So you might as well, if you take that, you might as well trade your pick and then drop back in the draft and let somebody else take it.
That's not a bad idea. I'm not opposed to that.
And get additional picks. But you're not going to take Kyler Murray ` overall when you have a first-round top 10 quarterback that you just acquired last year. And you can't compare it to the head coach. A coach and players, a general manager and their scouting department spent time, looked and invested all this time and said, you know what? This is our guy. We can move forward. We know what we have as a team. We know who we can be like as a team. This is our guy. And that's who they picked, Josh Rosen, as a head coach. And I'm not saying they gave him a fair shake. I'm not saying that. But when you look at a head coach and you say, man, I thought we were going to get this.
We didn't
get it.
You can't say that with a quarterback?
Yeah. The Chiefs had Alex Smith and just went to the playoffs. Andy Reid and Dorsey moved up to draft Patrick Mahomes. That is smart front office material right there. The Cardinals need to do the right thing.
Did they draft Alex Smith?
They had Alex Smith in the playoffs.
Him.
He was in the playoffs. He's a Pro Bowl quarterback. And they still took Patrick Mahomes in the top 10.
Jason, we're going to give you a win in this round because you got Jennings to smash his fist on the table, which I love to see.
Victory.
The fire in the past.
3-0 this week,
Go get it.
Clean
Let's
go.
Finally a win.
We'll get back to these two.
Did the Celtics prove they are better off without Kyrie? We'll discuss that next.
And I won't back down. Phil Booth and #13 Villanova get locked